Hi everyone, this is Madame Lloyd over in Wales. Today I've come to the Stone Circle in Carmarthen Park. There are some 40,000 megalithic sites around the UK, and the reason I'm coming to these sites at the moment is because there's something of a revolution going on in the world of broadcasting. My specialist podcast subject is the sacred geometry of London and those lines that intersect in star patterns across 400 square miles of Greater London, all centred on BBC Broadcasting House. Those lines also extend right across the country and in fact worldwide. These ancient power places are obviously well known to the modern architects who've built all of their places of power, palaces, parliament, churches, etc. on the old power grid. Now these things are never given publicity, these are the things we're not taught at school, but now there's something of a broadcasting revolution going on all over the world. People are beginning to understand that what we've been taught at school is only one representation of the truth, and in fact we've been deceived massively about who we are, where we come from, why we're here, and what is the purpose of life. In a godless consumerist society such as we live in, the highest goal of life is presumed to be to earn money and buy things, and yet we see people who've earned vast amounts of money and who have bought vast amounts of things, may own companies and even multinational corporations. They're not happy. They haven't found happiness, and they try to impose their ideas on each other, on the rest of us, and the actual result of that is great unhappiness. So this is now being rectified. What's happening all across the world is people are taking up independent broadcasting to spread the truth, because the truth cannot be contained. It's not something that belongs to one section of people. So yes, I'm very motivated to simply broadcast truth as I've been taught, as I understand it. I had the privilege to be taught by the great saint Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj for 19 years about the fundamental truths of life. And one very significant point about the ancient stone circles and traditions of Britain is that the social structure at the time when the old stone circles, places like Stonehenge and Avebury, were built, the social structure was identical to the social structure of India, because that was all part of a world empire. The Welsh language is based on Sanskrit, the oldest language in the world. The word Druid, two Sanskrit words, Dru, immersed, Vid, the verb root of Veda. So one who was a Druid was immersed in knowledge. So Carmarthen, where I am today, gets its name from Mrithyn. Mrithyn, in modern English, translated into Merlin. Carmarthen means the seat of Merlin. This is the oldest acknowledged town in Wales. So there was an old internet, there was an original internet. What we have now is an electronic inferior version, which is actually useful, very useful, because it's helping us to wake up to our true historic heritage of the original internet. Speaking truth was once prized as a great quality, not surprisingly, for the great teachers, because it's necessary to know what is true and what is not true. So the great revolution that's going on at the moment is in the field of broadcasting, and thanks to people like Brian Rose of London Real, who's been teaching many of us recently how to get our message out there by uploading podcasts, establishing broadcasting platforms. We no longer need to listen to the completely purchased opinions of so-called BBC reporters and news presenters. These things have no value to us. The greatest pollution in the world, the biggest environmental problem, is actually sound pollution. And the greatest burden on Mother Earth is lies and deceptions. That's currently being countered. I'm with the Hare Krishna movement, and the Hare Krishna movement has achieved bringing our native culture in the Western world back to life. This isn't just some Hindu thing being brought to the West in the 60s. This is our native culture restored to us in full, complete, with all the proper scripturally backed evidences that we'll ever need. So to purify the ether, the most powerful thing is to sing God's holy names, especially in places of power. Hence my subject of sacred geometry. London is full of places of power, places like Primrose Hill, like the Centre, Brock House, next to BBC Broadcasting House. There are so many places, Alexander Park, very powerful place, all over London, churches, mounds, wells, all connected in patterns. Anyway, this is my subject area, and I'm just strongly recommending that people go out and especially sing together. This is very powerful, especially singing God's holy names. And I've been taught in the tradition, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And this will purify the ether more than anything. This will do the greatest good for cleaning up the environment. So I'm going to carry on with this mission, and thank you very much for listening, and I'll be broadcasting more on my podcast channel, London Revolution, on Anchor. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.